Ah! I'm gonna like superimpose this. Ah! Oh my gosh. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna put this. I'm putting Beta over Judith. That's unfortunate. Sorry. Sorry, I have to sacrifice cuteness for badassness, you know? That is super cool. That was in the promo preview for the next half of season 9. He was not in this recent episode, but I am going to be reviewing Evolution, which was the name of the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead season 9. You know, there's a lot of things to say about this episode. The first thing that was on my mind while I was ruminating there for a minute was I wish they had got to the Whisper stuff sooner, because ever since Rosita and Eugene bumped into these guys hiding from them, I've been like, oh, let's just get to them. Let's just see what's going on. It's creepy. And that's how the episode starts. Jesus, Aaron, and Daryl, and the dog, of course, are looking at this herd. Something's not right. They're milling in a circle, and they're like, have you seen them do this before? Something's wrong. And then before the commercial cut, you see one of the Whispers just stop moving and turn its head, and you're like, oh, that's that is not a zombie. So yeah. But after that, though, it transitions to, because you have these side plots. You have Michonne and her awkwardness when she gets to the hilltop. Because, again, something happened between these communities in this 6-year period. We don't know what happened. I guess it's been confirmed that we will find out, like, what the X's mean that Daryl and Michonne have on their backs. What happened, whatever this dispute was between the communities, we're going to find out what it was. But there's all this awkwardness. Like, Tara and Michonne, you would have literally thought that Tara murdered Rick, or Michonne killed Tara's sister, or something. Like these women have known each other since like season 4 or 5. Like, they traveled from Atlanta to Alexandria together, and yet they are looking at each other like they hate each other. It's like, what could have possibly happened after Rick left that they would have flipped out like that? Like, I just don't understand. So she has that awkward moment between Tara, and then Carol's there, and she's kind of friendly towards her, but she doesn't really like know how to talk to her. There's a nice moment when Magna's group, Carol actually knows sign language, so she does some of the symbols, which is pretty cool. She can communicate with this new group, which is definitely earning its place. They had to go along with going to the hilltop, even though they don't know these people. They didn't focus on them too much. There was some discussion about them being unsure about the circumstances, and even Tara said, she's like, well, if they're going to come in, they have to earn their keep. People just don't like Tara's character, because with what happened to Jesus, people were like, oh, that means Tara's in control now. It's like, well, I don't know. No, Maggie's coming back next season. They have said that she's coming back for season 10. She's going to be bringing her 8-year-old Herschel, older, whatever, and she's going to be coming back for a shit show with the Whisperers, so that's going to be really interesting. So, I'm just going to take a sip of water here. Real quick. Life energy. So, yeah. So, basically, it's a race against time. Eugene is in this barn. The search party, as we saw from the previous episode, was going out to find them. Daryl, it's interesting because they keep trying to redirect this herd. He uses the clock, the timer, throws it. He like winds it up and throws it into the grass and tries to divert them that way. Then when they find Eugene at the barn, the Walker trail is right on their ass, and they're like, "What the hell? How's that possible?" Then Daryl and the dog, they go and take firecrackers and put them in the road and set them off. And Daryl's like shell-shocked. He's looking at this. The horde is just not distracted by what he's doing. And he's like, whoa, like, what is going on? Like, he's just completely confused. I'm not sure if he could hear him talking in that scene, but he's definitely confused about what the hell's going on. And then you get further into the episode, then they get to this graveyard, and then you really intensify the spooky meter because you have this mist that's creeping in, and it's just because this is what I think people were missing from The Walking Dead, because the past 2 seasons, seasons 7 and 8, it's been the Saviors, either fighting the Saviors guerrilla style or fighting the Saviors in all-out war, which was what season 8 was. And it was just tiring. I think people just got tired of Negan and the Savior because it was all gunfights. It was just bad humans versus bad humans. It was car chases. It was gunfights. It was explosions. It was machine guns. Like, it was a very physical, just physical, brutal war. And you could go to, episode 2 of season 8 was probably the most intense because that episode literally starts with like a drive-by shooting, and then Rick and Daryl invade that church and just shoot people. The kingdom with Carol and Ezekiel, they mowed it. Like, there's just gunfights every 5 seconds. And so people were thinking to themselves, like, what does this even have to do with the walking? Like, the walkers aren't involved. Like, unless you're using walkers as like a distraction or something in the war briefly, they didn't really do it that much. The only thing was when they used the walker horde to surround the sanctuary so Rick could take out the outposts. But other than that, there wasn't much utilization. And so people are like, well, this is The Walking Dead. Like, obviously you're in this Mad Max period where you have these groups that have taken over and they're fighting each other. But I think people got burnt out on the Mad Max-ness, because you technically had 2.5 seasons of the Saviors, because they were introduced for that second half, because the first gunfight with the Saviors, if you recall, was back in season 6, in episode 12, when they first invade the satellite station. So you had your first gunfight with the Saviors in that outpost. So people were like, okay, I got my taste for violence. And then obviously when Negan came, he like reset the clock. So they're like, okay, we reset now. We're building towards more action. And then here's the action. And then, so I think people just got burnt out because they're like, oh, there's just so much action. There's little dialogue, and it really shows you that people liked the dialogue. They liked the horror aspect, the fact, because it is a zombie show, so this is when the zombies are scary. They're like, holy shit. So to get back to my point, the fact that they're in this spooky graveyard, the mist is creeping in, you hear these whispers, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And for the viewer, even though the viewer, like myself, knows that some of these zombies aren't zombies and they're humans wearing masks, I don't know which one is which. There's no, like, notable skin. There's no notable costume. Maybe except this big motherfucker here. But other than... Actually, if he was blended into a group, other than his height and size, I wouldn't know. I still wouldn't know. I mean, he has that kind of scarf and that leather jacket outfit that he's got. But other than that, I wouldn't know. You just didn't know because these zombies were so decayed and the masks were just as decayed, so you just didn't know who was who. And the guy, so, I mean, we're getting to spoilers here, but the guy, when Jesus is, of course, they set this up where Jesus is like, go, they're trying to get the gate open. Michonne, Yumiko, and Magna all get there. They can't get the gate open. They finally dig some dirt away to get the gate open, and then Jesus is buying them time, slashing zombies, slip slash, and there's one left. And it's a really badass scene, and I love going around YouTube and watching people's reactions to it. Those are some of the episodes where I kind of wish, like, darn, like, I wish I had done a reaction video for it. But again, I'm trying to play safe. I don't want to run into copyright problems, and again, people just, for me, they look for the full episode. And it's like, I don't want to do the full episode. I just want to do the reaction. I just like to talk about it with you guys. And but anyway, really cool scene. Jesus flashes this guy. He ducks out of the way, spins around Jesus, it stabs him. I don't even know where he stabbed him. Somewhere under the armor plating. And he just whispers, he's like, you do not belong. And it's like, oh, none of these whispers have talked normally. They're all really creepy whispers, like it's Darth Vader. Because think about it, that's what made Darth Vader creepy, the James Earl Jones modulated, creepy, like, breathing voice. There's just something scary about it, man. And also, same thing with Darth Vader, he's wearing a mask. You don't see his face until the very end when he dies. So that's the same thing. These whisperers kind of have like a Darth Vader approach where you don't hear their real voice. They're always disguised. They're amongst an already very visceral threat. And they're just like, Daryl pulls the mask. He's baffled. He's like, what the heck am I looking at here? And then the episode ends on a cliffhanger because more whispers are supposedly coming. They're like, oh, they're trapped, circle around, like they're trying to surround them. And, I think I like their odds. You got more people now. You got Aaron, you got Daryl, the dog, Michonne with her katana, which you really want to go toe-to-toe with these guys in a close quarter combat. Probably guns would be the easiest thing. The only thing in the comics that makes guns difficult is that there's just so many zombies, and so you're wasting ammo on zombies, and you don't know which ones are the whisperers, and so that's the only tricky bit when it gets to the whisperers. But I mean, that's down the road when they get into bigger conflicts with these guys. But in terms of let's think about like the introductions we've had, because we've been introduced to a lot of villains. The governor, the Terminus people, Negan. Obviously, Negan's introduction was hugely hyped. You had those bikers. Your property belongs to Negan. Dwight's introduction was technically an introduction to the Saviors. We are Negan. You hear Negan's name over and over and over, and he's like a mythos. It's almost like he's a legend, like a Greek legend. And then this guy comes out of the RV, big build up, gets surrounded in a forest, leather jacket, swagger, swinging a bat. Like there was a huge hype. That episode had huge hype, huge views. They capped it off with a cliffhanger death, which was really annoying. But I think this is different because you're introducing. It's funny because the Terminus and Negan, those two villains were introduced at the end of season 4 and season 6. The governor was introduced at the beginning of season 3, so the entirety of season 3 dealt with his development. And by the end of season 3, yeah, he escaped, but his entire community collapsed. He murdered all of them and was on the run. So it was a small victory. So at the end, there was some sense of victory against this guy that we had met at the beginning of the season. Little different because for Terminus, they go into this place, realize it's a bunch of con artists, they get thrown in a train car, and a similar situation with Negan. They're in a situation where they can't do anything. Worse than Terminus because there's no Carol or anyone to save them. Thrown to their knees. 2 people get their head bashed in. So it was different. It was different. And so this is introduced at a mid-season point. So now we have the second half to see these people and to have conversations with the leaders. There's no alpha and beta. That's beta, in case you guys were wondering who that was. He's in the promo. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's the promo for the second half. There was 2 promos they released. One of them is Negan escaping, which is something else that happens in this episode. He escapes. It's different in the comics because he just sits in his open cell and waits for Rick, but no Rick coming, so I guess Negan's like, I better go find Rick. So no, from the previews, it looks like Negan goes back to the sanctuary, which is defunct. So maybe he just wants to relive old times and be like, man, I miss this place or whatever. So I don't know, nostalgia. Who fucking knows? The preview shows him going inside Michonne and Judith's home, and then he sees a drawing on the wall that Judith made, and he kind of looks at it somberly, like, oh, that's sad. He's not going to kill anyone. Negan will most likely lurk around at night. He's got that shovel with him, which is kind of like his Lucille for the time being until he finds Lucille. He's probably just going to lurk around Alexandria, get bored, figure that killing people it's not worth it. It's not going to solve anything, and then he's going to probably leave and then go to the sanctuary, and who knows what he's going to do. I don't know. Who knows? The only thing I know is that he's going to the sanctuary because there's no saviors for him to leave. There's no, because unlike in the comics, the sanctuary is still operating under a certain leadership. But in the show, the sanctuary is defunct, and all of the saviors, they meld into the other communities. Alexandria, Hilltop, because we see Alden. Alden's apparently dating Enid, which is cool, I guess. And then Laura, we saw, is part of the Alexandria Council. So notable saviors from previous seasons are just melded into other communities, which is pretty cool. And then the people that didn't, those rebels or those marauders, Jeb and Regina, Carol, set them on fire. So she murdered, like the last of the lingering saviors, she just finished them off. So like Negan doesn't have any army to lead unless he teams up with the Whisperers, which they tease at that in the comics, but it doesn't go that route. And again, that could be different. That could be different this time around, but I don't see it happening. I don't really see it happening. Negan is Negan. He's not going to join with these fucking masked freaks. He does have interactions with Alpha, which is something I'm looking forward to. If any of you guys have read that issue, I think it's issue 156. It's the issue where Negan's like holding Alpha, like kind of like he's like going to embrace her. And they make you think that. They make you think that Alpha and Negan are going to have a relationship, which I thought they were going to. And then the end of the issue takes a huge 180. I won't spoil it, but it is interesting. We're in for some good content, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. We're at an exciting point here in the show, and I think that I'm excited. I mean, again, even with Rick not being around, I still have Rick to look forward to in the movies whenever those come out late next year at this time or whatever. And yeah, we have all this freaking Whisper stuff. I mean, you look at the previews, dude. Like they're right near a hilltop. And Daryl has an interaction with, Lydia's in prison, we see, and then Daryl has an interaction with, it looks like Alpha. So, they ratcheted. They didn't waste any time. They're like, new villain. Because I think they knew that the show was going to be going on this break. Because at least when Rick left the show, they still had 3 weeks. They had episodes 6, 7, and 8 to keep people attached to the show. So they were like, okay, we can throw in some things that'll get them excited. So now they left off on the mid-season stuff. Like, they're trying to entice you. It's like, ooh, like the Whisperers and this new group, and Negan gets out of his cell. Like, there's a lot of exciting, like, what's going to happen next kind of things in many retrospects. And also, we still have this mystery of what the hell happened in 6 years that made the communities just go into this isolationist mentality. Like, I don't get it. So that's the biggest thing that's bugging me. Because as a comic reader, I kind of know the direction they're going with these new groups and stuff, but the division is not in the comics, and I don't understand how they're rationalizing why. Because so many of these people in these different groups are friends. And they've been friends since the earliest seasons of the fucking show. So, and it's just crazy to me because it's almost as if Rick not being there is the reason they're not together. Because Rick was the biggest proponent, following Carl's vision for the future. Rick was like, we have to be united. We have to build stuff together. And for a year and a half, they did. I mean, Rick, after they defeated Negan, Rick was still in the show, building stuff, building civilization. They were building that bridge together, if you recall, and he was trying to integrate the divisive saviors together. And I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm gonna make another vlog where I talk about my rating or my score for the first half of this season, because it's very hard to break this season into a half, because it feels like those first 5 episodes was a mid-season or just a season of a show, because it felt so different. Because the communities were joined together. Rick was there leading the charge. Every time there was an incident or an outburst or the saviors got pissed off at something, Rick would come charging in with his giant mace, that new weapon that he had. That's a waste now. God knows who has that. Maybe Judith. But he would come in, Colt Python mace and his new hairdo, and be like, "What the hell's going on?" He would calm everyone down, and then everyone thought he died when the bridge blew up, and then we had a 6-year time jump. We had a 6-year time jump, and now we have like new characters. We had obviously Magna's group, older Judith, new mindset Michonne, and older Henry. I mean, there's a lot of. It feels like the show was new twice. Like, the show was new from the 1.5-year time jump, and then it was new for the 6-year time jump. But I will get into that in another vlog. I don't want to go too far ahead right now. I will rate this one just because of the fact that it stayed true to these horror roots. It was good about keeping the show, because that's what it needs to be. It's a horror, It's zombies is horror. It's freaky. It's Halloween shit. It's gothic. This group, and this new group with the Whisperers, embodies everything that The Walking Dead is. honestly, with Negan, The Walking Dead did go a little Mad Max, in my opinion. It kind of strayed away a little bit from what The Walking Dead is, and I can kind of look back with retrospect and see that the show went, because they got to a point where they knew how to deal with zombies so efficiently that the only threat was, if you're really good at surviving the apocalypse, then somebody else, 9 times out of 10, there's somebody else out there who's figured it out way better than you have. And there just so happened to be someone that Rick vastly underestimated in Negan. So yeah, I'll give this a 9.5, and I'm really doing that because of that last part with the graveyard and the spooky scene, and I just like how it's attacking the show at the right angle it's supposed to be attacking. The fact that Negan's out is cool. I mean, again, there was some meandering with these conversations at Hilltop where everyone's still like uneasy with each other. You had those weird kid interactions between Henry and those other college kids where they were so many people who just, they get desensitized. They're like, hey, let's throw shit at a zombie and it's fun. And I think there was another scene in The Walking Dead. Oh, with Lizzie and Mika. Remember? They were like treating the zombies like they were pets or like they were nothing to fear, and they just didn't realize how much of a threat they were if they actually sunk their teeth into your skin. So, yeah, and then Henry, he was a little drunk. I mean, how much did he drink? There wasn't much in that bottle that he had, and he gets thrown in that prison. Earl, that was a nice little thing that Earl was able to see, that he was in that cell a few episodes ago with Maggie, and 6 years their time. But so we had all those scenes, amounted to a good episode. Probably would have liked to have seen a little bit more with the Whisperers. I know they're trying to save it for the second half, but still really good setup, and just the Jesus fake out with the guy dodging it was just you get so scared. For people who don't know about this group, they were probably like, how the hell can a walker be dodge? Because all the other walkers are just lazily, dumbly, they're stupid. So if someone's swinging a machete at their face, they're not going to dodge it. They're just going to they're just like, me want food. So they're just going to, take that shot to the head. And so they're not smart. There's no smart walkers. So the only way you can have that is by people living underneath. So yeah, guys, I guess we're going to roll with this picture. I mean, sorry, Judith, but, until I don't know, this picture is just way too cool, man. This picture is just way too fucking cool. I'm gonna keep it. It's just, there's so many good images in that promo. I mean, really, that's in terms of a promo. I mean, they showed far more, because the promo for season 9, it only showed, most of it just showed Rick. It didn't really. It showed as if Rick was gonna be in the whole season, and it just showed what those first 5 episodes were gonna be. They did spoil. They did tease the Whisperers a little bit at the end, but yeah, man, spooky shit, man. I'm looking forward to where the show goes, and I'm gonna make probably 2 more vlogs, and I'll probably be making more as the year go. Because we're not gonna have The Walking Dead till February, so I'm not gonna be able to do this review stuff for a while. So there's a few vlogs I want to make. One of them is reviewing. I do this for every mid-season, full season. I always do this where I review a segment of the shows. So I'm gonna review the first half of season 9 under new ownership from Angela Kang. And then I'm going to do a video talking about Jesus' exit from the show and some of the thoughts the actor had about his exit. Very interesting. I have an article, actually, I want to go over with you guys. Yeah, so it's interesting. I won't get into it now, but look forward to that. And I hope you enjoyed my reviews. If you guys do want to see, maybe I'll do a reaction video to the finale, but I'm gonna have to be sparse with them. I don't want it to be reoccurring. That I kind of put my foot down. The only reaction vlog I did was the one for Rick leaving, because I thought that was a big momentous occasion, which it was. So we'll see. I could change my mind. We shall see. Okay. Hindsight, I wish I did one to this episode, because that last part with the guy dodging, that was pretty intense. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Belichick is not a whisperer, but he might be. Anyway, see ya.